The new Republican House of Representatives is in absolute shambles. For the first time in 100 years, a Speaker of the House has not been elected in the first round of voting. In fact, yesterday we had 3 rounds of voting, and the person everybody thought was going to become Speaker of the House and the person who's already moved into the Speaker's office, Kevin McCarthy, lost 3 times. 3 times yesterday, Kevin McCarthy lost. After all, he only has the opportunity to lose 4 votes in the House of Representatives as Republicans won a smaller majority than expected during the midterm elections. But in this case, Kevin McCarthy lost by 19 votes, then by 19 votes, and then, to add insult to injury, by 20 votes, which is kind of going in the wrong direction for Kevin McCarthy. The favorite otherwise is Republican Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan, however, was actually advocating for Kevin McCarthy. Even Donald Trump just came out saying that McCarthy will do a good job. It's time for all Republicans to vote for McCarthy. But people like Matt Gaetz of Florida, who is voting against McCarthy, has gone as far as writing letters to complain about why has McCarthy been able to move into the Speaker's office when he hasn't actually been elected yet. And in fairness, that's kind of a good point. But Matt Gaetz goes on to say things like, Kevin McCarthy has sold himself for a decade to get here. He is corrupted by lobbyists. He doesn't bring bills to the floor that will secure our border in Texas. He accepts the omnibus spending package, which will increase inflation for ordinary Americans. And he won't call for rigorous oversight of politicians. And the only person that actually would do these things is Jim Jordan, including introducing a term limits bill so people like Nancy Pelosi can't be in office forever. Okay, you have to say, I mean, some of those things sound pretty, normal, okay, and actually pretty decent. I think the issue at hand, though, is that what we're seeing, and Democrats, by the way, they're on the sidelines just eating popcorn over this, okay? But I think what's happening is America's realizing, damn, we really just have a divided government. And this is kind of what our political system has come to, where even when Democrats controlled the Senate the last 2 years, what did we have? Sinema and Manchin that basically were able to hold up any kind of agenda of the Democrats. Now, don't get me wrong. People on the right are like, hell yeah, Manchin and Sinema, you guys are doing our work for us, right? But then people on the left are like, come on, we won, we have the 51 votes, but now people on the inside aren't letting us do anything. And now actually the same thing is happening to Republicans, where it's like, the House of Representatives can't do committee assignments, they can't start business, they can't swear people in, they can't do anything. They can't pass rules until they actually elect a speaker. So they'll try again today at noon. They're going to gavel in, and they'll hold a vote soon after. But if McCarthy doesn't make good progress and he narrows this down to maybe only losing by 8 votes, right? He needs to show really good progress over these last 24 hours. He might not end up becoming Speaker of the House, which, then it's kind of anyone's guess. Is it going to end up being someone like Jim Jordan, or is it going to be somebody else like Patrick McHenry? He's another person people are looking at right now. So nobody knows. But really what this does is it kind of emboldens dissent in our Congress, and it suggests, hey, if you want something, you want another committee assignment, you want more funding for your project or whatever, or you want your lobbyists to be taken care of over somebody else's, well, all you have to do is basically just sit in a corner and say, nope, nope, nope to anything, and then you start getting what you want. It kind of emboldens this. I mean, we might end up having government shutdowns again like we did in 2011, where the U.S. was basically about to default. It's basically becoming a hardliner, where you just hardline to hold out and get what you want. So it's going to be crazy. A lot of McCarthy allies right now looking to negotiate the demands of others, but you'll probably end up seeing patience run out very soon in Congress for waiting for somebody like Kevin McCarthy to actually get his act together. But again, then nobody's really clear in terms of who actually might jump in and fill that role. And what we can tell you is when you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, this looks bad on Republicans, you have a lot of people going, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you do a lot of things that make Republicans look bad, and you're saying this makes Republicans look bad? And in fairness, it kind of does, because it sends the signal of a lack of unity amongst Republicans. Again, Dems are loving that, but it shows us that the way our government functions is solely through gridlock. If you want something in Congress, you must contribute to gridlock. Now, what's wild about this is it's all happening at the same time as somebody like George Santos, a Republican, is basically admitted to being a pathological liar, lying about his resume, that he went to, college and actually graduated from college, and then that he went and worked for Goldman Sachs and worked for the Citigroup, and all of these turned out to be lies. And then, despite making everyone believe that he was actually a Jew running for Congress as an openly gay Republican, it turns out he isn't actually a Jew, he's actually Catholic, and then in interviews just tells people, oh, but, I'm Jew-ish. I'm like, this is seriously what politics is devolving into. We have a fraud and a liar, somebody who's potentially has connections to a Ponzi scheme the SEC filed a complaint against. That's George Santos. He ended up working for Harbor City Capital, which was accused of a $17 million Ponzi scheme by the SEC. Just shortly before Mr. Santos magically made $3.5 million from some miscellaneous LLC that he created with no public profile and was dissolved soon after it was created. Who knows how that Ponzi scheme money is moving around. But now, apparently, the state of Brazil is opening a criminal investigation against George Santos for potential check fraud when he was 20 years old. This is what Congress has come to. It's pretty wild. Now, I was thinking about doing a little bit more of a detailed dive into George Santos. If you're interested in that, and maybe a reaction to the Tulsi interview with him as well, let me know in the comments down below. Happy to do that. But otherwise, to me, it looks like you've got some real big embarrassments for Congress right now. Not only can Kevin McCarthy not actually get his party together with a form of unity to start actually getting things done in Congress, not that much is going to get done anyway, because any bill that Republicans pass is just going to get squashed by Democrats in the Senate or squashed by Joe Biden. Kind of not going to be doing anything the next 2 years anyway, so to some degree it's kind of like, does it really make a difference? But while that embarrassment is happening, you also have the embarrassment actually sitting around waiting to get sworn in, and his name is George Santos, the fraud and liar who says it's okay to be a liar because, after all, Joe Biden is a liar. Yeah, because that's exactly how you defend yourself. You don't actually defend yourself. You just point the finger and say things like, well, they're doing it too. This is childish. Our government has turned into a childish group of babies. It's pretty embarrassing.